What is up, guys? Okay, welcome back to the vlog and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day so far and you just got a sneak peek. I didn't lie to you. Again, I don't lie to you guys on these videos. We shot the Senna, we shot the SVJ, and now we're shooting Stradman's old Ford GT, now owned by Patrick Adair, and he has graciously let us come out. We're gonna go grab some shots up here in Draper, and it's gonna be a fun day. So basically the point of this video is we're gonna do a shoot from start to finish. I'm even gonna do a little tutorial at the end on how I'm gonna edit these photos. So let's do a little B-roll, because I mean, this car deserves it. I mean, am I wrong? It deserves it. Guys, so again, we're out here shooting Patrick Adair. If you don't know who he is,
what's up, guys?
Go follow him. I mean, you probably already know who he is. He's big on YouTube. If you don't know, he makes rings. They are super killer. I'm gonna be buying one soon because hands naked. But thank you again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
so,
of course. I'm super happy to be here.
So super exciting. This car is literally my dream car. Tell me a little bit about the car. What made you want to buy it?
Well, so Stradman, you know, you saw the infamous video. He's like, I'm putting all my cars for sale. So I'm watching that and I'm like, you know what, I would love to own a Stradman vehicle. That'd be cool. And I'm watching them and I'm like, oh, the C8, that's such a perfect, like, it's in my budget. I love it. Cool car. Emailed him about it. He's like, it's sold. I'm like, oh, shoot. Well, my only other favorite car there would be the GT, but that's like pretty out of my price range. But I got talking to him and I just said like, hey, let's just do it. We made it work. It was kind of like a stretch financially, but like it's so worth it, and we're gonna make it worth it through content. So
oh yeah,
that's gonna be kind of the goal there. There's not much to it other than, you know, it's a Ford GT. They're all like very much the same. There was 4 options on them, and most owners got all 4 options. I think it's the red brake calipers, the speaker, the wheels, and then one other thing, I can't remember it right now. But yeah, other than that, it's got the exhaust that Stradman did on it, but it's stock other than that. So it's all up from here. We'll just say we got plenty of mods in the works.
And you got an automotive channel, right?
Yes, just it's called Patrick Adair right now. I need to rebrand it though. All
right.
So we'll figure that one out.
Sweet. Well, we've been talking plans about this car, so if you don't follow him on that channel, please, because it's going to be amazing. This guy's got so much things in the works. It's crazy. So we're gonna go do some rollers. We're gonna go to a spot, grab some photos, and yeah. Got the one and only Miss South Valley Photo in here, being the driver today for today's rollers. It's gonna be awesome. So we came to the spot. Unfortunately, it is completely full. So we're not doing anything illegal. Nothing illegal to see here. Again, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. All right, guys. So we are just shooting the GT at this beautiful location. Like, look at this view. All right, guys. This is probably one of the most beautiful spots I've ever shot at. And in fact, being able to shoot my dream car in a spot like this is amazing, and I'm super happy and honored. So thank you again, Patrick. We're moving the car, we're gonna reposition it. Now I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of details about what this shoot has been looking like. So I'm using a Polar Pro circular polarizer to make sure I can take out all the reflections, all the shadows, all of that. Ooh, yes, sir. Oh, dude. Look, if you don't off-road your GT, you're not doing it right. Whoa, getting low, sir.
How is that?
Angle a little bit more, Well, other way, sorry. Keep going back just a little bit. Angled more. Right there is perfect. And then turn your wheel this way. Other way, sorry. Perfect, right there. So anyway guys, so again, we are shooting out here. Today, because my new camera hasn't come in yet, we are using the EOS R, which is the same sensor as the 5D Mark IV. Now, settings for this, we're about at 1 to 180th, just because of lighting. ISO is around 800, and everything like that. Now, I personally love the 24 to 70 lens because it's not too wide, but it's super wide enough to capture really everything. Anything wider than that, you start to get distortion, and on a car like this, it's really easy to tell when you have those effects. So we're just gonna keep shooting, grab some more video, and then we'll jump back to the office where I'll explain how I edit these. Only the best views here in Utah. Ain't that right?
Yep, Utah views, as Stradman likes to say.
All right guys, well I hope you guys enjoyed the shoot aspect of it. I know I didn't have a chance to really get into some details. We were trying to utilize what lighting we had. I mean, we ran out pretty quick, but there's more to come, I believe.
Yes,
so
for sure.
We're gonna stay tuned for that. Any last words?
No, thanks for watching. Braden's a cool guy. Thank you for supporting him.
Yeah, and guys, make sure to go check out his channel. If you don't already follow him, you probably do. But this guy does some crazy work, and let alone with that car. Anything sneak peek you guys want to give the followers?
I'm gonna do a wrap. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a cool wrap. It's gonna start out with something bland, and then we're gonna build from there.
Guys, I've heard this wrap is gonna be so sick, so stay tuned for his channel. Uh-oh guys, so short sequence in the vlog. We met some of the coolest cops out here in Draper. Seriously, they kicked us out, but it's okay because we're done. Again, we're sorry, but you guys are awesome. So thank you guys. This is awesome. Oh, such a great shoot. Again, guys, nothing illegal, nothing wrong going on here. Just keep looking past. Keep looking past. Such a fun shoot. Even though Draper Cop showed up, which rightfully so, do not do things that are illegal. But they were so cool, so chill. Just wanted us out of here. So thank you guys again, Draper Cops, you guys are awesome. We're gonna head to the office now, go over a lot of how we're gonna edit these photos, just so you guys can get an in-depth view on what these shoots look like from start to finish. So let's just jump there now. Okay guys, we have made it to the office. Let's edit this GT. I'm super excited to be editing these photos. Now, if you're looking at my screen, you are noticing that we are using Lightroom. A lot of you guys only use Lightroom, which is why we are going to be emphasizing that in today's little edit. Most people know that I only edit in Photoshop now, and I'll tell you guys why later on when I do a tutorial. But for now, I want to show you guys my process and why I used Lightroom for as long as I did, and the features that are going to really make this picture pop. So let's just jump right into it and kind of go through some of the edits here. First off, I can tell from this photo, I have my shadow indicator on. I don't even know if that's what it's really called, but that's what I'm gonna call it. Basically, it outlines in blue where I am losing detail, where the shadows are too crushed. So I'm gonna probably wanna be able to bring those back. The lighting is very blue, as you can tell. It was blue hour. My exposure was right, but we're gonna be changing up some of those things. So let's just dive into here. In the first panel right here, under the basic panel, I'm gonna brighten this image up just a little bit, nothing too crazy. We're gonna do very basic touch-ups just to kind of get the photo where we like it before we do some specific touch-ups. Add a little contrast, bring out some of the shadows and highlights. I'm gonna bring down the highlights in this situation. I like that there. And then shadows, I'm gonna bring up, I'm not gonna bring it up all the way because I don't want the shadows to be completely lifted in all areas, and this is just a universal adjustment. So that's not gonna be what I'm doing there. Let's brighten up the highlights, darken the shadows. And then I'm gonna add a little clarity to the image. Let's kind of take a left, too far right. One of the things I always say about Lightroom is the smallest changes make the biggest differences, especially since they're universal. make sure you play around with it, get it to the point where you like. So that's where we're going to leave the image, just in the basic panel. I'm actually just going to close that entirely. Let's close out our tone curve. Right now I want to mess with the HSL panel. Now HSL panel basically is hue, saturation, and luminance. Right now, as you can see right here in the top left hand corner, we have all these different colors, and that's what we're going to be modifying to kind of get a foundation for this photo shoot and get the colors where we want them. So on blues, I think there's too many blues, so I'm going to dial those back a little bit. I do want to brighten, let's darken them up a little bit. Aquas, we can kind of mess around and see where it's going to be changing. As you can tell right here, it's changing this portion of the sky and other parts of the image. So now greens, let's see what greens are going to be affected. As you can tell, it's most of the foreground here. I don't want it neon green. In fact, I want it more yellow. Let's add a little bit more saturation. Let's darken those up. Hue, I am going to add a few more oranges to the yellows. Again, this is going to be a quick edit here, just to get to the point where we like it enough. Again, this is nothing too crazy. We're not doing an in-depth tutorial on the edit. Have you guys seen kind of my process here as we edit this? So I like the HSL panel where that is. Okay, so right now is a good basis. I would say even a better foundation now where we can bring the photo where we want it. The next step here is I want to make sure to put emphasis on the subject, which is the car. And because the car is really dark right now, it kind of blends in with everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to lead the person's eyes to the subject. And how we do that is actually through a gradient filter. I'm going to bring it up to here, and then I'm actually going to darken the foreground a little bit, because naturally our eyes are attracted to light. And so by doing this, it allows me to essentially direct where I want to the person who's viewing this photo's eyes to the subject, if that makes sense. I really like that. Now, one thing too is I also want to guide people's eyes back to the car. So one thing I like to add as well when I'm in Lightroom is a gradient filter in the sky, just to brighten up some of the areas. I'm going to add quite a bit of contrast here, maybe even bring down the highlights a little bit. I do like a lot of the warm tone here. I don't want to go too crazy, but we're going to add a little bit here. Clarity back, take out some of the noise there. So again, very simple so far, nothing too crazy. Now, what I want to do is I also want to go into the brush panel, and one of the things I really like to do is I like to essentially paint the subject out separate from the foreground and the background. Now there's another way of doing this. You can actually use the radial filter, but the difference is the radial filter does everything inside the circle, and I don't really like that too much. I'd rather keep it specifically on the subject. It's a little bit more tedious using the brush tool, but I think it's great. So I'm just gonna come in here, I'm gonna bring up my brightness here just to get an idea of where exactly I'm painting. Now there's another way of doing it where essentially you can go in and it will show you in red where you are painting on the image. In this situation, I just want to bring up the brightness also to not only see exactly where I'm painting in the car, but as well as kind of get an idea for what it's going to look like when I am lifting up those shadows. Now if you're using a mouse, what's really cool too is you can actually use a little scroller, just a little button right here, to change the size of the brush and then modify it as you go. Now that looks horrible, as you can tell. We've got the brush where it leaks out into the background and the car's really bright, and as you can tell as we zoom in here, it's pretty noisy. So one really cool trick with this brush is that if I hold Alt or Option, depending if you're on PC or Mac, and then I can go in and draw exactly what I want to take out. So areas in which the brush kind of leaked into the background, I'm actually going to take out some of this windshield here. Just to help eliminate the areas that got brightened that I don't want brightened. In fact, I'm actually going to take out this piece right here. to take out this bush. Now, if I was doing this for a client, I would want to be obviously a lot more precise with how I do this. In this case, where it's just a tutorial, we're going quick for time's sake, and we want to make sure that that looks good there. I'm going to draw, as you can see right here, we're missing some of that. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Again, it's not something I would hand off to a client confidently, but just for the sake of the tutorial, I just want to show you guys kind of some of the process here. Now I'm going to keep zoomed in or stay zoomed in, I should say. Now I'm going to brighten up the car, not too much. I'm going to add a little bit of contrast to bring out the highlights and the shadows. In fact, I probably want to take out some of the highlights a little bit. Let's kind of play around with it there. It's not doing too much. In fact, I kind of like lifting it up there. Now the shadows, obviously if we go too dark, we're crushing them, we're losing a lot of detail there. So I want to brighten those up ever so slightly. Well, the area that is covered in blue, I don't care too much about that detail. So I'm happy with that. Now, with whites, let's take that up just a little bit. I want to crush some of those shadows again, just ever so slightly, not too much. I'm happy with that. All right, clarity. Now, again, smallest changes make the biggest impact. Whatever I've been saying. I want to go in and let's bump up the clarity a little bit just to kind of bring some sharpness, really accentuate the highlights and the shadows, all of that. Everything looks good there. I might even desaturate it just a smidge, nothing too crazy. Sharpness, I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Noise, I'm definitely going to want to eliminate a lot of the noise because as you can tell, as we brighten those shadows, and since we had to shoot at such a high ISO and low shutter speed, I definitely want to make sure that I'm not showing too much of that. So we're going to take up the noise, eliminate a lot of that, and I'm happy with that. Again, nothing super crazy, but for the purpose of this video, I think that's great. Zoom out, zoom in. In fact, if I hold Alt, I kind of want to take out some of the highlights where it leaked there, but as well as add some back in here, just to make it look bueno. All right. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So far, the car looks good. It stands out. It's not too noisy. And we can kind of separate it from the foreground and the background. Now, one thing I'm actually going to do for the purpose of this tutorial is I actually want to change the color of the sky a little bit here. Now again, I left the highlights on, and so, or sorry, not highlights, I bumped the exposure up, so that's what it's going to do automatically. Bring that back down. In fact, I'm actually going to lower it just a smidge. Add some of that, and then I definitely want to warm up that background just a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but just make that really nice there. In fact, I'm actually going to go in and change this a little bit so it's not too dark. I don't want the image to be too dark or contrasty. And there we go. So we've got another layer of our foundation that I'm really happy with for this car. The only thing I might do on top of it is I actually might come in and then bring out the brakes here, because I think those are really cool. They add an element to the car. Kind of see those 6-piston Brembos right there. So again, we're just doing this for fast and for time purposes. I would obviously want to be a little bit more precise, but I'm going to bring down that exposure. Smooth it out because we've got a lot of noise, and that looks really good. So boom. All right, so again, solid foundation for the photo so far. Now we're going to get into the stylizing aspect of the photo. This is one of my favorite parts. In fact, we're going to use one of the most underrated tools in Lightroom is the split toning. A lot of people try to do all the colorizing and stylizing in the white balance panel as well as the HSL panel, and even those do add those elements. This split toning is really cool because it takes all those changes you've already made, but then now we can stylize the photo for that particular look. Basically, I can come in here under saturation and affect the highlights. So then I can stylize how I want the highlights to be affected. So here, I think I'm going to go with more of a yellowish effect, kind of like this little amber. I like that a lot. Take my saturation, bring it up just until I like it. I don't want to do it too much because the car is going to be recognized as a highlight, so I don't want to make sure, I don't want the car to be affected color-wise really. Then on saturation for shadows, this is going to affect the shadows specifically. Come over here. I really liked the reds down here. So then I'm going to bring my saturation for the shadows and then ever so slightly up to the point where I like it, okay? This is before and this is after. Before and after. I think that looks great. The last thing I would ever do to this image, because we're going to post this on Instagram, is change it to 8x10. Change the framing a little bit, rotate it just a smidge, and I'm pretty happy with that photo. So again, I wanted to show you guys real briefly what this process would look like. Again, this isn't super in-depth. I'll be doing in-depth tutorials later on. So if you want to see more videos, go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe. I'm trying to build this community. That way, you know, we can all grow together. I want to show you guys some of my process, not only in Lightroom, but in Photoshop. In fact, my next tutorial is going to be how to take your photos from amateur to a professional look in Lightroom. Thank you guys so much again for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and see you in the next vlog. Peace!